Hey, RIISE Network. It's been a moment. I hope you're enjoying the summer. I'm really excited to be here with you today in this month of August because as the summer has been going along, we've really been looking forward to an exciting annual event that we host in Martha's Vineyard. Actually, we don't host it. Ted and Paige Parker host it, and they've just been gracious enough to open up their home in support of families of color, building bridges with the culture of independent school education. So we're back for our RIISE Martha's Vineyard benefit on Thursday, August 11th. And in preparation for this really fun event, we are honoring and promoting this honoring of Dr. LaShonda Barnett, who is author of Jam on the Vine and scholar, and very well known on the Vineyard for her writing that she does with Jam on the Vine. And she is going to be accompanied by jazz phenom, independent school student Emilio Modeste and his trio. So we just wanted to invite Emilio to join us today. Hi, Emilio. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing all right.
Good. You getting a little rest in between gigs?
Yeah.
And I understand that our event in Martha's Vineyard is your next gig. So you're looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be great.
Great. So, you know, our theme this year, and thank you for being here. It's an honor to have you, and we want to say that Riverdale Country School was very supportive in sponsoring your portion of the event. So we want to thank Riverdale for just continuing to be that connection that helps us communicate with more and more people and create this lifestyle of an independent school network. So tell me a little bit about you, because I don't know if everyone knows that you're a professional jazz musician. In addition to you're going into what, grade 11th?
Yeah, 11th grade.
Okay, at Riverdale. You're a professional musician, jazz musician. Would you agree?
Yeah, almost there.
I've seen you play, and very, very impressed. And you play with some of the great jazz artists, and you play at amazing venues around the world. Tell us why you think so. Again, our theme is what is our theme? Turning up the arts. That's what our theme is. I just wanted to get that hashtag right. Turning up the arts, and we're doing so because for many educational curriculums, art isn't necessarily a part of it. And at independent schools, art is very much core to the curriculum of an independent school education. When did you fall in love with what is it, the saxophone that you play?
Yeah. I started playing the saxophone when I was about 8, but I started out on violin when I was about 3. And then I went on to the drums when I was 5, 4 or 5. Yeah, 5. And then I went to the piano, and I played the piano until I was about 6 or 7. And so I'd gone through all these instruments, and by the time I got to the saxophone, I fell in love with it. But it was my 3rd or 4th instrument, and my mom didn't needed some insurance on the fact that I would kind of stay on the instrument. Yeah. But I did, and it's right next to me, so.
Can we see it? Can we see your sax?
Sure.
So what was it about the saxophone that was different than to you? How did it make you feel a little different than the drums and the piano and the violin?
It's the closest thing to the voice, so it's very, you can really articulate yourself. It's kind of like singing, it's very similar to singing. If you can't sing, it's good to have a sax.
To be able to play the sax is a good placement. So you've been playing, you've been playing before school started, and you clearly have a family that is very supportive of your work, and you come from a family that appreciates one particular form of music, and is pretty much a scholar in it. That would be your mother, Jackie Modeste, Dr. Jackie Modeste, with jazz. So would you say that the sax brought you to jazz, or jazz was already a part of?
Yeah, it was already a part. When I was younger, it was, yeah, even on the drums and the piano and all that, it was still part of it. The saxophone, though, it brought me closer to it because, you know, when I found the saxophone, it was the closest thing to what I was hearing in the music. You know? So that was the voice I was connected with the most in jazz music, in instrumental music.
Who would you say that you play, which jazz saxophonist that we might know of, you feel that you play closest to, or you sound the most like, or are you totally Emilio Modeste?
Oh, not yet. You know, like Miles said, it takes a long time to play like yourself. So you know, you have to go through all the everything to learn the language. I would say, you know, my two main influences are Wayne Shorter and John Coltrane. Lester Young, those, you know, those two or three people shape my sound a lot. And the kind of things that I'm hearing are very connected with discovering. I have to discover, my goal is to discover what they figured out in the music, how they figured out how to connect with people through their personalities and everything.
Well, you know, when I watch you and other artists on stage, it's interesting that you say how you can connect better with the audience. You seem like you are in such a secluded space. It's almost like, how do we connect with you, right? How do we get into your space? What do you think that playing the saxophone, playing jazz has brought to your young life? Because you are, you know, if Miles says it takes a long time, you have clearly have some time on your side as a young man going into his junior year in upper school. How has it influenced your academic career? And in particular, how has being able to play this instrument as very much a part of your music focus in school kind of shaped you academically?
Well, you know, playing the saxophone or playing music is, especially jazz music, is a world in itself. You know, practicing is one important part, of course, with the discipline and the focus you need to keep progressing, and to, even though when you're practicing, you're sitting there practicing maybe reading or anything, you don't really see the progress, or maybe the next day you don't see the progress, but then after a year, after 6 months, you look back and you say, wow, I couldn't even read that. I couldn't even do that with my fingers yet, you know. And so that's a big part, the focus and the discipline, but also the fact that it really extends to every part of your life, you know. So listening to the music, you know, listening to the music is something that goes beyond the instrument. You have to always be, whether it's ideas in your head that are always moving around, or it's putting the effort into studying the music and closely, you know, listening to every little part, every instrument, every hit, every break in the music, you know, every little thing about the song or album. Transcribing is a big part. Learning people's solos note for note, every inflection, all of that is, and learning how to imitate those types of things give you the platform to create from knowledge instead of just, you know, just creating something. And then the elders in the music, you know, communicating with them, and there are not many around, but you can do that through, you know, interviews. Now we have the internet, so you can do interviews on YouTube. You can watch full concerts. You can, and some people, Louis Hayes, a great jazz drummer, Louis Hayes lives in the neighborhood here in Riverdale. And so, it's going to his house, going to these people's houses and learning from them, learning the stories and the secrets, all that about the music. And finally, I would say there's practicing on your instrument individually, working on that craft. But there's also a social aspect to it, and practicing with a group, and developing your sound as a group, and how you're going to contribute to that sound, how you're going to be humble enough to be a part of something, and just sacrifice the ego and all that just to be a working part in a sound that's created. And all of those things apply to school. Group work, that's a big part. And again, the discipline of studying, and you might not see much progression, but you're, after the end of a year, you think, how did 9 months go by? I didn't even notice.
Yeah, no, that's really powerful. The arts absolutely enrich our lives, so that you're not just living, you're not just going to school. You are experiencing school in ways that probably out of passion for what you love to do, but certainly it informs how you go through school. So you talked about things like grit, being able to stick to something. You talked about, in a way, having empathy for others in your group, right? Wanting to hear what it is that they're trying to communicate, helping them to do that, and not only being a leader, but also being part of a group that's learning together. And all of these things definitely impart great wisdom and development to a curriculum at school. But it's also something that our school definitely benefits from as well. We benefit from your craft, and that's why I'm really looking forward to you jamming with LaShonda and the rest of the folks coming to the RIISE Martin Luther King benefit on August 11th. Because we get a thrill out of watching someone who's so dedicated to their craft. And again, they stick with it. So over time, every time I hear you, you're just better and better. And I'm hearing more and more fantastic things about you. So as a school, I know Riverdale really is blessed to have you, and you're part of that. What is it called? What band is that you all have as part of Jason Curry's?
Riverdale Jazz Ensemble.
Riverdale Jazz Ensemble, but then you do this cafe thing too, right? It's called...
Oh, at the end of the year, we do the maroon note.
The maroon note instead of the blue note. Riverdale's colored maroon. You do maroon note, and you all really jam. And I just recently watched you all, the Riverdale Jazz Ensemble, abroad. You were in Australia last year, right? Were you cutting it out?
We were in Australia in 2014, I think, when I was in 8th grade. Yes, 2014. During spring break, so in March. And this year, in March, we were in London.
That's right.
Yeah. We played around the clubs and everything.
What was that like? Were they surprised to see such a young professional jazz group, particularly coming from America, there in their jazz pubs?
Yeah, they're definitely happy to see us, going all the way across the ocean, to play this music.
Did you visit any schools while you were out there? Any international or independent schools?
Yes, I can't remember the names of the schools. I think it might have been Wellington College. I think that's the name. I wouldn't hold me to that, but interacting with the kids was great though. Seeing other kids who even if they weren't too serious in the music, they found something like they found that they could use jazz music or music as a positive influence on their lives and their academic careers. So they saw value in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're going to be having lunch with LaShonda soon. LaShonda and your mom actually went to graduate school together. So it's really going to be nice to have that network, that trio of the three of you all there. And how that's going to look is that we're going to actually have 2 sets that we'll play on Thursday, August 11th. One, the event starts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If you haven't RSVP'd yet and you know you're going to be on the Vineyard, you might want to do it because this is going to be the best yet. Again, very excited that Emilio will be doing call and response with LaShonda, who will read Jam on the Vine for about 10 minutes each set. And then based on the time period, because it's a historical novel, I'm sure you haven't had a chance to read this book yet, right, Emilio?
No.
I did. It may have taken me 5 months because I don't quite have that sit down on the train and read for about 20 minutes in and out of the office time anymore. So it takes me a little bit longer, but I thoroughly enjoyed the book because it's based on historical fiction. And it takes you from about 1895 to about 1925. And during that time, jazz and the blues were a huge influence on the lives of African Americans that were migrating to all different parts of the United States after slavery and the beginning of Reconstruction, and then we move into the Code Laws, and then we move into Jim Crow, and here we are now. And I will tell you, by the time I finished reading her book, I was like, wow, how much has really changed. So I think the music is definitely going to inform the time, and the reading of the book will inform the music that you play. You'll also be playing some of your original pieces as well, but you'll be taking us down memory lane in a way. Well, not for me. I wasn't around when Johnny Roll Martin was around, or Hines was around, but certainly I do appreciate the music of those folks in Ellington and Miles Davis. So I don't think we'll reach as far as Miles Davis in that time period, but it'll be an energetic call and response that you two will be doing, and I can't wait to see how that comes out, because a big part of jazz is just being able to improvise. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Improvisation is a big part of the music. It's kind of like what I was saying about creating. Improvisation is a spontaneous thing, but it comes from a lot of discipline, a lot of hard work to be able to create. I think the pianist Keith Jarrett called it controlled freedom, where you have to create with your consciousness and your perspective, or someone else's, but with an understanding of the jazz expression and the African expression. And we have to create from that, not just create, because if you just create, that promotes a certain type of ignorance in the music when everyone has been creating from this immense amount of knowledge, So It's really, improvising is really very complex, because you have to know how to do it right. Not so much, notes right and the sound is right, but the concept, how to approach it in the way that you're holding up, or you're trying to carry or continue what the people from before have done.
Wow. Okay. Do you see why I'm so excited about this event? I mean, we are honoring LaShonda, who definitely comes from that place of, she's a historian as well, who's taught in independent schools, has taught on the university level. And through her novel of fiction, takes us on a journey through history during a unique time of the African-American experience. And to have that paired up with jazz, because she's a jazz scholar, just like your mom and like yourself, to have that paired up with jazz and have that call and response between the both of you is going to be electric under the big sky, because that's what I like to, and I'm not the only one who's coined this phrase, big sky is huge, no pun intended, in Martha's Vineyard. And we will be outdoors. We start in the evening, we'll go through sunset, and it's just going to be a really beautiful space to honor our families who do come to the Vineyard annually, who've been coming for quite some time, families of color, particularly those of African descent, and the music that has that we uniquely created. Am I right in saying that, Emilio, that jazz is an African American art form?
Yeah, jazz music is the follows the development of Black people in America.
Yeah. So again, we are just really thrilled to have you. I know that you're really busy. We're not going to keep you long, but we will share some of your video snippets as we promote August 11th event, as we turn up the arts in Martha's Vineyard. And we look forward to a portion of those proceeds going towards an independent school scholarship that will fall under the RIISE 500. That's a whole nother little segment that we have here. There'll be a link to that. If you have a independent school student enrolled anywhere between 7th and 10th grade, I believe, but check the notes, you'll have the opportunity to apply for this scholarship. You got to do a little work, you got to answer some questions, but that a portion of the proceeds from the Martha's Vineyard event will go towards that $500 scholarship. So I want to thank you, Emilio, really, for taking the time to speak with us today, and for the work that you do, the gift that you have, and the craft that you're building, and for sharing it with the world and with us on August 11th.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. All right, RIISE, so we'll be back when we catch up with Dr. LaShonda Barnett, and she's going to talk a little bit more about the event and how she looks forward to jamming with Emilio. So have a great day, and we'll talk. Bye.